So today I didn't feel like really making a tutorial video just because I just finished all of my midterms and pardon any noise upstairs. I live in a busy apartment, so just keep that in mind. So yeah, I just finished my midterms and today I just wanted to talk about university while I color because like that's relaxing and talking videos are really nice, and I'm going to be using a lot of markers today because they're super easy and I don't want to sharpen anything. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about my first term as a university student. So background is I'm in first year biochemistry, biotechnology. It's not a double major, but it's like a weird slash, so I can't really I can't really distinguish so, like sometimes it's really hard explaining to people what that means. So pretty much I am interested in obviously biology and chemistry, and that's kind of like my main focus. I do not want to become a doctor, but my kind of main goal is either to be a lab technician or a professor in terms of for biology courses. And so that's kind of my main goal right now. But again, things change, life changes, and yeah, so these are the colors. I really wanted pastel kind of colors, and it's pretty. So, my background is like I took a year off school just due to medical reasons, and so it was kind of like a hard transition in order to get into school again. At least I found. I've always been a really hardworking student, and I always achieved like 90s and stuff like that in high school. And I kind of noticed right away that it obviously is not like high school at all. Obviously, a lot of people will say that for any people who make YouTube videos that are in university, that it is really time consuming. And I kind of was just being like, oh, well, this will be fine. I know how to study or whatever. And it was kind of a shock because I knew I couldn't take 5 courses. So usually so where I'm from, you take 5 courses and that's 100% like a full course load. And I was kind of like, no, I'm just going to take 4 because that just means I won't take an elective for either of my terms, and I can just make that up in the summer, which I'm super glad I did because I'm someone that struggles with depression, and I work 2 jobs pretty much. I work weekends and during the week, and it's already hard enough trying to have a social life, and then because I'm just awkward as a person, and then putting studies on top of that, it was a really hard shock for me. And I know I should have obviously like known that from the get-go, that university is just obviously like 10 times more intense than high school, but it's hard when you achieve so much and then you have time off. Again, this was medical reasons. It wasn't like I was out partying. It's kind of hard to be like, oh, well, what do I do now that I'm not getting the marks that I thought I would? So that was kind of challenge number 1. Number 2 is kind of a social aspect of university that I was expecting, but I live off campus just because financially that is not an option for me to live on campus because it's super expensive, at least where I am. And I completely, I'm saving most of my money. So that's good, but then also I lose out on being social. But what really helped, and I can't emphasize this enough, is literally just saying hi to people in my labs or in my classes, because you'll see these people almost every day. Well, not every day, but you'll see them regularly enough that you'll get some acquaintances and you'll make some really good friends. And I'm just a really socially awkward person, so it was a big jump for me, especially since in high school, I had a really great group of friends I saw every day for lunch and we hung out. And then everyone kind of moved away or is in a different year or a different university. So there was a lot of differences that I had with my main squad, I guess. And I needed to make an effort to make new friends because, again, these people, you don't see them every day and they might be in a different program than you or a bunch of other things like that. So making an effort, even just to say hi, is just insanely important. And I've met so many really, really nice people. And another thing that also helps with like social, the social aspect of it. Again, I'll get to academics in a second. It's like I'm a firm believer in teamwork and stuff like that. I am a Hufflepuff, so obviously that kind of makes sense. But in university, I didn't think it would be such a big thing to work together and to, like, be each other's support. Like, I go to a city that has 2 universities, and they're kind of not competing necessarily. It's not a thing, but we're kind of a joke to the other university, I guess, because I know people that go there. And it's not like they just think we're not a real university just because we're so small. But we're known for our extracurriculars and our efforts for like community building and everything. And I'm so glad I went to this school because like we contribute to our student community, if that makes sense. It's just, even for example, my physics class, which I actually really like, we have open book quizzes pretty much every 2 weeks. And I wanted, in the beginning, I started doing it alone, and we're allowed to talk to people during the quizzes, but I was afraid to kind of ask people, not exactly for help, but just kind of making sure that we're all on the right track and everything. But recently, talking to people has raised my mark so much because I get deeper understanding because other people will know more than I do, or I will know something that they don't, so then we both benefit from actually talking to each other. And I think that was also that's also a thing. Obviously, you can't just copy off of each other and expect you to do well because you won't know what to do. It's knowing that you're okay to ask for help, or that someone is going to be there if you ask for assistance, and you work hard and that will pay off, kind of thing. But I know that was a bit of a tangent and it doesn't really flow. I didn't plan this at all because I wanted to talk about my experiences. And literally some days I only go to class because sometimes it's really overwhelming and it's really I should be doing this assignment or whatever. Sometimes I just go because I need to see my friends that I've made in university. And literally the other day, I think it was actually yesterday, my friend just brought his Nintendo Switch and we played Mario Kart before a biology class because, it becomes really stressful, and having people that you can have a good time with and laugh with is really important. And I guess I was really nervous to actually make new friends because, again, I've had friends in high school that I've had for years and years, and I know them and it's comfortable, but sometimes comfort is not ideal, especially when you're actually going into a new chapter in your life. And yeah, I'm just really happy in terms of my social aspect, and I've already joined a club, so I'm part of a chemistry association kind of, and a part of an off-campus kind of community group that I haven't really taken advantage of since I've gotten to school, just because it has been a really kind of tough transition for me. But hopefully next term it'll be a lot easier for me to reach out more socially and get involved, just because I will understand my schedule a lot better and what needs more of my attention and what doesn't. Again, it's all just a huge you try something out and then you see if it works. If it doesn't, oh well, you can just start, like, I kind of think of it as like every week I start fresh. Every day I kind of start fresh, but really in my weekly spreads, it's kind of like goals of the week or my weekly overview of like what I want to accomplish. So that's how I think of it, because like there's 12 weeks in my terms for each term, so it's easier to think of it like in those blocks of time. And yeah, it's just that's a lot easier for me, because then it's like, well, it was one week that didn't go so well, I can try again next week. And so that brings me into my academics. So I take 4 courses. I take biology, chemistry, physics, and calculus. So I am obviously more someone that's interested in biology and chemistry. I love physics. I just hate being tested on it. And calculus is like, I'm good at math, but really my focus right now is in biology and chemistry. So how do I say? I'm in school from Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm in school pretty much from 8:30 until 1:20. And then anything over that, I have labs or tutorials. So I pretty much have I have a chemistry lab every week. I have supplementary information sessions for chemistry every week. So pretty much what our school does is we have student kind of tutors that go through stuff that we've learned in the past week, and then you do practice questions on it. And there are people that are in like 3rd or 4th year in your program, or like a related program, like people that are chemistry majors, or people that are in health sciences. So those people are the ones that help with supplementary information, and they go to our classes, so they know exactly what's happening and what examples were done in class, which is actually really useful, because they're students just like us, and they understand the struggle of being tired and trying to juggle everything in relationships, and like it's really just an hour and a half of just examples that are worth your time to do, and things that can commonly trip you up. And it's just, in this one, the only reason why like I went in the first place, because I thought I was going to be solid at chemistry, was that the fact that they gave us a 0.5% bonus each week that we went up to 3%. So I'm past the point where I can get any bonus marks, but it's such a good thing because I use it as a study tool and something as a refresher, which is really useful. And I'm still trying to get in the groove of what each subject is the best study method for me. And each of them kind of has their own thing, and I'll probably discuss it in another video of what is useful for me, and hopefully it can give you some ideas for yourselves. But yeah, each of them has like a different system, but chemistry, going to SI is really useful. I just can't go to really any other SI sessions for my other classes just because I am super busy, and I travel between 2 different cities to see my families. So it's one of those things where I really only went for chemistry because of that bonus mark, and I made time for it. But yeah, so that was one of my chemistry things. You pretty much are teaching yourself, but there are people and there's other students that will be able to help you. And as someone who's like fiercely independent in terms of like my work, and I don't want really anyone else to mess with it, that was hard to learn, is to accept help from others and to know your limits in terms of, I can't do this mentally. And that's also an important skill to learn if you suffer from mental illness, is to accept help. And it's kind of a double-edged sword because, again, I do suffer from mental illness. To work harder than what you really want to, yet give yourself the breaks that you feel when you start feeling that burnout. And I was feeling that burnout even just last night, because all my midterms are done. I had 2 labs due this week and everything else. So it's kind of like I was like burning the midnight oil like for 2 weeks straight, doing these labs and everything. And I've pretty much had a midterm every week since the end of September. So And that's just because biology and chemistry each had 2 midterms, then there was calculus, and then that just took up a bunch of time for me. So there were days where I had to be like, okay, you're feeling tired now, but you're going to feel worse when you see that mark or you see the test and you don't know what's going on, or you're struggling to keep up with deadlines and it's just going to make you fall farther behind. So there's moments where like that where you have to be like, you know what, hustle harder. And you have to also have those days where you're like, nope, I'm going to miss this day because I'm honestly tired and I'm in an okay academic position to take time to sleep, to read, to watch Netflix and be in sweatpants all day. Like, that's kind of my day today, but I planned it. As in, last week I really was not feeling well. And that was the same day as my bio midterm. So I knew, and I made a conscious decision to be like, I'm not feeling well. And if I go to school, which was like 3 hours, because our midterm was during our regular class time, if I had to be in class for 3 hours before my biology midterm when I wasn't feeling well in the first place, I would not do well in my biology because I would already be thinking about other material and I'd be tired because I'd be up at like 6 o'clock in the morning to get ready for school and be at school for regular classes. I had to make that conscious decision because I know I've gotten a lot better at knowing my triggers, I guess, or like what my body is actually capable of in terms of what I can do best to succeed. And I think that's also a really big useful skill just in life in general, where you know if something is not going to go well because of how you're feeling, or stress, like managing stress and everything like that. It's finding the things that will make you overwhelmed or not think straight, and then trying to avoid it, or at least bare minimum planning ahead, or you can see the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to, I'm having a really rough week, but I know on Friday I'm going to set aside like 3 hours to just watch Riverdale or something like that, which is what I did today when I woke up because I knew I needed something. And it's all about that balance, and also keeping in mind that you're paying for school, or like you're going to school for a reason. And even though it can get super stressful, it's worth it in terms of the self-growth and the discipline you can create for yourself. And that's also one thing that I've learned a lot more by being in school and having this routine and struggling, because I did struggle, like as in I crawled my way up from like nearly failing some of my calculus labs to now I'm getting 100% or like close to it, just because I'm asking for help, I'm putting in time, I'm going to classes, and I'm taking my breaks. And I know, like, I schedule out my times for, well, I don't schedule it out, as in, like, I know if I don't have classes at the end of the day on Friday, I'm just going to watch YouTube for a bit, or I'm going to, I don't know, do my makeup extra pretty so that I feel like super bomb. You feel? It's knowing yourself. And the amount of reflection that I've done in these past 3 months and things I've learned about myself is actually incredible. And it's also, it's hard too, because when you know yourself, you also compare yourself to other people that you see around you, but you also don't know the whole story of like what other people are going through. Like people who are overachievers, or people that are struggling with school, but you also don't know if like they're fighting some sort of like medical, like they're having health issues. Like one person I know from one of my classes, she's actually dealing with an infection. Like she's just not feeling well and she has to take antibiotics. Like she has a throat infection or whatever. And she's struggling and she's emotionally struggling through a breakup or whatever. And then it's just kind of like you put things into perspective, and it also comes back to knowing people around you, because you would maybe not feel so great because you're like, oh, this person's like doing so well and like I feel like I'm not doing enough. But like this person could be struggling like in some other way than you are. And it's just as valid, and you won't know until you talk to people. And I'm just a huge advocate for talking to people and building those connections and making school, like obviously you're there for education, and 100% make that effort, because people will see it and then it will just benefit you in the end, because hard work, I feel, doesn't go wasted ever. Like anything, like if you feel like you studied for something that wasn't on a midterm, well, that's going to help you in the exam. That happened to me. So like hard work goes a long way, but so does these friendships, and so does this level of effort in your social situations. I feel like this whole video is kind of a lot about putting in effort and putting effort into knowing yourself, into your social aspects, and making sure that not one part of your life suffers, but also learning what you can do better, as in being accepting of your current situation, knowing that you did your best, but also looking for ways to improve or to try new things that might benefit you and might not benefit you. But like for me right now, I'm struggling with my health in terms of muscle tension and neck tension, and then getting headaches because of said tension, and just not feeling energetic as I did when I was regularly going to a gym, or just doing more. You know what I mean? Like in terms of my health and making better eating decisions. And it's hard because I want to make all these excuses, and sometimes excuses are valid, but I also know deeply is like, if I just planned better, I would be able to do more, or I'd be able at least to make more of an effort. You know? It's hard to not be so hard on yourself. But it's also, I've found that I've gotten a lot better at not being so hard on myself and not having so many unrealistic expectations. And I think that's a really big thing to talk about, like just to reflect on, being like, am I happy where I am? Is there something I can do? Is there people I can talk to? Because like there was, when I was going to go back to school, I went to a speech pathologist, which is someone who deals with communication and like information intake and all that stuff, because I was having really difficult times even talking on the phone with people or sending emails. And I literally was so distraught because I was like, I'm going to go to university, and I haven't done studying in a year because I had a brain injury. And I've been trying to do stuff on my own, but I'm really scared I can't handle it. So this is where talking to people who are specialists or whose job it is to help you get some answers, because we can't know all the answers, obviously. And through that, and also, again, hard work, effort, and talking to people, I was able to feel more confident going into school with some study skills, better communication skills, and things that helped me to reach out easier and to know when I was feeling burnout, because that was 100% an issue, and it still is. But we also have to keep in mind we're in transition at all times. So my state in September was completely different from what I am now. And again, it's just putting in that effort is huge. Now I want to kind of talk about actual my actual thing, like some tips and stuff that I've learned from actually being on campus. Because I'm there like sometimes 12 hours a day, sometimes 14 hours a day, sometimes like 5 hours a day. So Tip number 1, if you live off campus and you have the means to do so and your university actually offers it, get a locker. You will not regret it. I keep snacks in there for myself and my friends because I am someone that gets very hungry throughout the day, and then it distracts me and I can't think straight because hunger is it's just a killer for me. So that's the thing. I keep my jacket in there. I keep like my lab coat and my goggles so I never forget them. And it's just so much easier for me to have a place to put all my stuff because I also have an issue with carrying heavy weights for long periods of time. My one job, I lift water, like 5-gallon water bottles for most of my shift. So like I'm used to carrying weight. It's just when it's always on your back and you have to walk pretty far or you bus, which I do, it's just nice to have somewhere to put like I put my lunch in there, I put my coffee mug once I'm done so I don't have it empty and carrying it around all day. I have like my scarf and my hat and my jacket. So it's just a good place, so then I know things are safe and I don't feel like I'm gonna forget everything at home or want to carry everything. It's just a huge literal weight off of me. So that's a good thing. Also, know your library. I have a friend that literally doesn't know where the library is, and it's been a really great productive spot. In my university, we have the first level, which is like group work and computers, and then every level kind of gets quieter. And I'm someone that I need like a little bit of noise, but I cannot work in silence, but I also can't work in noise, if that makes sense. So if I worked in like a cafe, it'd be good because there's a pretty regular like little chatter that happens, or like just an ambiance, I guess. So I go on the 3rd floor of my building, which has like little cubbies for people to work at, and there's still some people that do a little bit of group work, but they're never like super loud, which is really relaxing. And it keeps me more motivated because I'm in a space where I'm supposed to be working, or at least I'm supposed to be doing something productive. So I'm less likely to actually like pull up a YouTube video or Netflix like I would at home. And also I'm just also never home. I find that I literally just come here to crash and then to get up to go to work or to leave the house again for school. But I just find that being in a library, it's so much more motivating, and know some spaces that you work well in, or some buildings that you find a great spot that you find is great for lighting, or is quiet enough for you. Like some people, they study in the halls because they just find it really easy, or they go in group areas, or they go to cafes. Really, whatever makes you most comfortable, just find these spaces that you can go to. Like, especially if you rotate them out, that's also really helpful, because then you won't just be stuck in one spot, and you get to know your space so much better and feel more comfortable being there because you know the space, like you know your campus, you know where you're actually going to school, and you can meet new people. And yeah, it's just, I'm usually in 1 or 2 buildings just because they're connected to each other, but I also love taking a walk if I know I'm going to be at school a lot that day, or I need to get a lot of work done. I like taking the walk from those buildings I'm usually connected to just to go to the library, because it's a completely different setting, and you associate different stuff. Like, I don't believe in using one space all the time, just because I'm someone that needs different atmospheres, especially depending on my mood. Sometimes I need silence if I'm just really stressed out, or I'm just not focusing properly, or I just need some more hustle and bustle, you feel? Alright, I'm gonna try to find a green, because I feel like this needs a little bit of something different. But yeah, I like these talking videos a little bit more when people do talks, because I'm usually cleaning my room, or I'm doing something different. Like, I can't always be staring at a screen. So I like listening to people talk instead of just being like, oh, look, there's music and then there's text floating across the screen that I don't really have time to watch. Also, pro tip, if you want to watch a video but you know you don't really have a lot of time, but you really want to watch it, go into like the settings and it'd be like the playback mode. This I believe is also on mobile, where you can do the playback speed. And now if I am kind of caught in, I need to watch this video because like I just need like a 5-minute break, but this is like 15 minutes. I play it on 1.25, 1.5, or even 2. If it really depends on the video. Like if it's a haul or something, I put it on 2. But if it's like just something I really want to listen to, it might just be 1.25 or 1.5. And I just find that that's really helpful because in a sense it's kind of like a treat mentally over the hustle of like working and studying and stuff. But yeah, I think it's important to find the balance. And again, it's always a work in progress. That's what life is. So don't be so hard on you. Especially if you know that you suffer from burnout. Having these things aware at all times is just really useful. All right, so pretty much right now, I think I'm done talking about university, and I probably will talk about it a bit more in terms of my other experiences, but right now I think we can go into a time lapse. And yeah, I hope you really enjoyed the bit of talking, and I'll do some more updates. But yeah, just enjoy the coloring if you really want to. Bye.